Welcome to the official Florida Bar Podcast, where we cover practice management, leadership, and what's happening in Florida law. Brought to you by the Florida Bar Practice Resource Institute. You're listening to Legal Talk Network.
Hello, and welcome to the Florida Bar Podcast, brought to you by the Practice Resource Institute on Legal Talk Network. And we're so glad you're joining us today. This is Christine Bilbrey, and I'm a practice management advisor at PRI and one of the hosts for today's show, which is being recorded from our offices in Tallahassee, Florida. My co-host is Jonathon Israel, director of the Practice Resource Institute.
Hello, I'm Jonathon Israel, and as Christine mentioned, I'm the director of the Florida Bar's Practice Resource Institute. Our goal here at PRI is to assist Florida attorneys with running the business side of their law practices. We'll be focusing on a different aspect of technology each month, and we'll carry that theme through our newsletter, website, and related tech tips and articles. Joining us today is Jennifer Kuyrkendall. Jennifer is the General Magistrate for the Third Judicial Circuit in North Central Florida. She presides over probate, guardianship, domestic relations, and foreclosure matters. Jennifer sits on the Executive Council of the Florida Bar's Solo and Small Firms section, where she currently serves as the Secretary and Chair of the event we wanted to focus on today, which is the Florida Bar's newly named Tech Show. And this year's theme is going to be called Riding the Technology Wave.
Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Jonathon.
Okay, so if I'm an attorney and I'm thinking about going to the Florida Bar Winter Meeting, which is coming up on January 25th down in Orlando, why should I think about also attending the Tech Show?
Well, it's going to be a great opportunity to go and earn our newly required CLE credit for technology. That's recently been passed and approved by the Supreme Court to where all lawyers in Florida are going to be required to have an additional 3 CLE credit hours per cycle, but specifically in technology. And this conference, it's a day-and-a-half conference that every single one of our credits will be in technology. So right there off the bat, you've got that taken care of. And then technology is necessary in our practice. It's constantly evolving, constantly changing. So it's going to be a great opportunity to go and have hands-on, be able to ask questions from industry experts, and just socialize and network with other attorneys, but more importantly, learn what the current trends are in technology at this time.
And who do you think should go? Just attorneys, or are there other people that you get at your conference?
No, we get everybody. We are going to have attorneys, of course, at the conference, but your office manager, your paralegal are welcome to attend. We also offer for law students to attend, and special and new this year, we're going to actually have a judicial panel, and we're anticipating about 35 judges that will be there Friday morning. They're not all participating in the panel. They're going to be there like you as attendees at the conference itself.
Wow. So did you call all of those judges personally yourself to get them lined up?
No. I'm only involved in organizing the panel itself, and I've been working closely with Judge Williams out of the 8th Circuit, and he's been working on the judge end. I've been working on the attorney end and the Florida Bar, and we're having a part of it will be a joint conference in that we're bringing the judges in, because it's important for both the judges to see what the practitioner faces in our technology hurdles or benefits, as well as for the attorney to see what the judge sees. There's different judicial viewers throughout the whole state, and if you're practicing in a different county, you might not be dealing with a judge who's using consistent technology. So it'll be a good way for both sides of the bench and bar to see what the other sees and deals with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great point. I hear so many attorneys that one of their biggest complaints is when they walk into a courtroom, they don't really know what to expect from the judicial side as to, how that judge wants to see whatever they're presenting and what technology he's used to using, or they're used to using, sorry.
Okay, Jennifer, so tell us about the speakers that you have lined up for the upcoming Tech Show.
Sure. We've got people coming from all over. I have Alan McKenzie, who's going to be coming from Arizona. He's going to be discussing Microsoft Office Suite. He's got Microsoft Word topic, Microsoft Excel, as well as Microsoft Outlook. We also have some local folks that you might be already aware of. I think they've both done podcasts before, Liz McCausland as well as Barbara Leach. They're going to be discussing the technology-powered, modern, and successful law firm. I also have Andrew LeGrand, who's coming from New Orleans. He's going to be discussing how to improve efficiency with text and document automation. That one you're actually getting CLE credit for, but then I have a bonus one that Andrew is going to be discussing, which is niche marketing. Because it's marketing, you don't actually get CLE credit for it, but it's more incentive, more of a bonus, more of a reason why you really need to come and attend this conference. We also have Melissa Koch coming from Orlando. She is going to be discussing cybersecurity and privacy for lawyers. Now, that's the individual speakers. I also have the different panels. For instance, the judicial panel that I spoke about, that's going to include Circuit Judge Diane Tennis out of Orlando, Sharon Bach, who is the clerk of court in Palm Beach County, and then there's other people that are going to be on the panel that you'll just get to come to the conference and see and meet. The second panel that I'm going to have is going to be composed of general counsels from the nation's leading online legal platforms and top legal thinkers. These are going to be like Avo, Rocket Lawyer, those types of places. So there's a lot of discussion going on right now of how they fit in within the Florida Bar's regulatory framework. So this is going to be an opportunity for an open discussion and for the lawyers to come and ask and see, well, how do I fit into that picture? How is that pushing me out of the market, or how is that creating a market opportunity for me? So a lot of things that you might not necessarily think of are going to be addressed in that panel. And then on Saturday, we're bringing back a panel that I did in 2015 when I was also the conference chair. It's going to be a panel composed of the practice management providers. It's an opportunity for the attendee to watch 6 or 7 different practice management or time and billing providers and see, okay, what does this product do? How can it benefit me? How can it make my practice more efficient? And by getting to see all of those and then have a comparison between each of them, it's a much simpler way of selecting who you want to use for your practice management, time and billing, or if you want to change, if you want to switch from who you currently have. And then on Saturday, we're going to end the show with the all-time favorite of the 50 tech tips in 50 minutes. That'll be comprised on the panel, have some of our speakers from the last day, as well as Adriana Linares, who's just amazing. She always does a great job with those tech tips.
That's wonderful. I do want to highlight something. With the change of the technology CLE requirements, we've had quite a few attorneys that have contacted us because they have a lot of apprehension. They feel like the tech shows don't apply to them. And it's interesting to me because you have such a spectrum going on that you have Microsoft Office, which for a lot of the techie people are thinking, why are you having this? I love that this can be an entry level. People who are just using Microsoft Office think they know it, but there's so many things they could be doing with it. It's so much more powerful than they realize. So I like that that's a little more of a comfort zone for those, that people that are wading into the technology.
Absolutely. And, for those people who think, oh, I already know that, well, I can promise you, you will pick up some tip from Microsoft Word, Excel, or Outlook that you didn't already know. Every time I watch one of these presentations, I learn something new, which makes it worth the price of admission to me. But even if you think you're already an expert in that area, well, we have a second track running at the exact same time. So you get to really choose your own course as to what is most applicable to your practice area or practice management.
Yeah, and I think the really cool thing about the speaker lineup is that these aren't vendors trying to pitch a product. These are actual professionals who have done this and implemented it and can show you how much it improved the efficiencies in their own practices and law firms. So
I agree 100%, Jonathan.
I love that on the second day that you're going to show the products, the practice management software, because that's always my first question when attorneys call in and they want to make their practices more efficient. I say, are you using practice management software? And they're so overwhelmed that they've just opted out to use nothing. And so we're constantly asked, what do you recommend? What looks best? And there are excellent products out there. And I tell them it's going to be about the user interface for you. What are you comfortable with? How do you want the information presented to you? So putting those software packages up where they can look at them and hear about them, you're doing us a huge service here at PRI.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Christine, you hit a great point about that panel, because that's one thing I didn't say is that user interface. I mean, you might come across some sort of software that is very intuitive, that you can just do it without even learning it. And then there's others that they might have great things that they can do, but it's not intuitive. So this panel, you're going to actually get to compare each of these different providers and see, okay, is this the type of user interface that will work with me? And if so, do they offer the types of things that I need? Am I going to be able to export my calendar, import this, export that, or transfer from one provider to another? So all those types of questions are going to be answered in one spot.
That's great. And then do you have a lineup of other vendors or exhibitors if I wanted to try and look at some other products or anything else that may benefit me back home?
Absolutely, Jonathan. It's still fairly early for the exhibitor signups, but so far I have Clio, which is legal case and practice management software, Tabs 3, which is legal billing and practice management software, Thomson Reuters. They offer many services. In the past, they featured their firm Central Time and Billing. We also have Practice Panther, which is secure law practice management software, and Zola Suite, which is legal practice management software as well. In the past, we've had other types of exhibitors and vendors as well, featuring anything from like Ruby Receptionist. We had Smokeball, we had SoFi, we had Watson Bay Area Insurance, Rocket Matter, Law Pay, Cosmolex Fine Law. Universities, different law schools have come in the past as well. So we definitely have a wide range and wide variety of exhibitors that come as well as sponsor at the conference.
That's excellent. So I'm hoping that there are some listeners thinking, okay, this is a win-win for me. I can get my CLE tech credits. I can figure out what practice management software to buy, but I want my law firm administrator to come with me because he or she is going to be the one really implementing this with the staff. So if I'm listening and thinking those things, I'm also now wondering about how much does it cost to attend? If I'm bringing someone besides myself, are there ways that I can get a discount? So what do you tell those people?
Yes, Christine, that's a great question. Absolutely. Bring anybody in your firm who is going to be using technology. If it's your paralegal, if it's your office manager who's making those decisions for you, this is a perfect opportunity, something that's offered to them as well as to attorneys. Now, they get a discounted price. All full-time law college faculty, law students, and paralegals get a discounted price of $377. And then as far as attorneys go, we have early bird registration through November 30th. If you are a member of the solo and small firm section, the cost is $455. If you're not a member, the cost is $490. Now, if you're clever and you do quick math there, you'll see the price difference is the cost that it takes to join the section. So join the section. It's the solo and small firm section of the Florida Bar, and right off the bat, you've already paid for it. If you're not able to register prior to November 30th, the regular admission registration cost will be for members of the solo and small firm section $490, and for non-section members, it's $525. But if you have come before, we offer a discount. We want you to come back. So if you had attended the 2016 conference, you want to come back to 2017 conference, the cost for a member of the solo and small firm section is $430. For non-section members, it's $465. And then, of course, like all CLEs offered through the Florida Bar, we do have fee waivers for various members of the bar who are Supreme Court, federal, DCA, circuit judges. It goes on to that list that's always listed on the different CLE advertisements. They just have to pay for the cost of food to attend.
Wow. That's a great price, especially for the amount of education and CLE credits that you're going to be receiving while you're there. So we mentioned that the Tech Show is actually going in conjunction with the Winter Bar meeting, which kicks off January 25th. But what were the dates of the Tech Show?
The Tech Show is going to be on that Friday and Saturday. So it's going to be January 27th and 28th. And then, like you said before, it's at the Gaylord Palms in Orlando.
That's excellent. Beautiful property. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. We could do a whole show just on Jennifer's career. She's very busy. Jonathan gave her a little short bio. I also want to put in a plug to In My Hands right now. I'm very excited. Is her novel that she wrote entitled Deadly Escape that I ordered from Amazon. So Jennifer, tell people how they can reach you and, where are you on social media? Tell them a little bit about your book if you want to.
Okay, Christine, thanks for that plug. I had no idea that was coming. In my spare time, which doesn't really seem to exist anymore, but a hobby of mine is writing. And so I wrote a book ultimately called it Deadly Escape. It was premised on a murder scene that I went to when I was a prosecutor towards the beginning of my career. Just you really don't experience something like that unless you've been through it. You cannot get that from watching a movie or watching TV, because when you're out there, the smells, the sounds, everything that goes along with the visual aspect of it is just so enhanced. And so my concept of what I wanted to do was create a book that is kind of like a legal treatise for criminal law in this context that would be required reading at law schools. And I have been negligent. I have not done enough marketing. I like writing. I don't like marketing. But Stetson, I am proud to say, has used it for 2 semesters as their required reading in one of their classes, just used it as their case model and plan. But it's geared towards learning criminal law in a fun way, but it's also written in a way in which non-legal minds can enjoy it also. I have written a sequel to it, but it's not completely through my editing phase, but I made it much more mainstream to make it more character development and just more of what a popular book would be. It's still legal intensive, but not anywhere near like what Deadly Escape is. But that's available on Amazon. Because my name is very difficult to spell, I actually truncated my name, and I'm using Kendall, Kendall, and my initials, J.R. Kendall, for the name on the book. And that's available on Amazon.com. But as far as other ways to reach me, I am available on LinkedIn. I do have a Twitter account that I primarily use for the tech show, and all these links will be included on here with the podcast. And then also there's Facebook for my book page as well. That's J.R. Kendall also.
Excellent. Well, I plan to bring my copy. I will get to see you in person, so I'm going to get you to sign my book. Maybe you could set up a table, start some marketing for one more vendor at the show, a little plus. Well, it looks like we've reached the end of our program, and I want to thank our guest, Jennifer Kuyrkendall, for joining us today. So this has been another edition of the Florida Bar Podcast, brought to you by the Practice Resource Institute on Legal Talk Network. I'm Christine Bilbrey.
And I'm Jonathon Israel. Until next time, thanks for listening.
The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer. Thanks for listening to the official Florida Bar Podcast, brought to you by the Florida Bar Practice Resource Institute and produced by the broadcast professionals at Legal Talk Network. Subscribe to the RSS feed on LegalTalkNetwork.com or in iTunes.